to show you how to deal with butternut squash. This is a very mini butternut squash.
It is.
It's quite beautiful. So we're going to break it down and we're going to chop it up. So as with any hard winter squash, you want to look for one with a stem because that indicates freshness. It hasn't been sitting around for months and months. And you want to have a very sharp knife. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually to cut off the stem. And then I tend to just trim off the very end piece as well. I don't even know what you call that.
Knob end.
With a knob end. And then because butternut squash is usually shaped in two very different ways at the top and bottom, so it's very straight up here and then usually very round at the bottom. I just like to
just avoiding saying what it really looks like.
I tend to just cut it right the bulbous piece starts. I tend to not like to use a peeler for butternut squash because I hate that sticky squash skin that like gets all over your hands and dries and sticks to you when you use a peeler, and I think you can avoid it better with a knife.
It's like a sap.
It is,
yeah.
It is, and you can actually see it. Look, it's like bubbling out of there now. It's obviously got sugars in it.
Yeah.
So I just actually like to trim this end in particular with a sharp knife, and you can just run it down the edge of the squash.
It's a nice challenge for your knife skills also.
It kind of is, yeah. I'm not doing the best job today. I have to say I'm a little embarrassed.
I'm impressed.
So while I'm doing this, do you want to take a peeler to that side?
The other way you can do it, and it makes it easier on this end, is just using a vegetable peeler. And I tend to just do it long strips, like I'm peeling lemon zest.
Sorry. I usually feel that you kind of need to get rid of the green. I don't know if that's actually technically true, but I feel like I've fully peeled it once the green is gone.
Oh yeah? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe that's wrong.
I will follow that directive.
Okay. So then what I tend to do, I wonder if you do this, well, you've got the seeds.
Okay,
so I'm going to do your piece
I'm
first.
just going to cut it in half. If you're roasting, you'd leave the seeds in. But if you're cutting this into cubes, you want to just scrape the seeds right out with a nice thin-edged spoon.
And if you want, you can roast them, clean them off and roast them just like pumpkin seeds.
Yeah. And then you have a nice half that you can cut into chunks.
So it's funny, when you buy cubed butternut squash in the store, not that we ever do that.
We never do that.
It's got all these funky shapes because it really is a challenge, especially I think when you're doing it on a, massive scale. You're not going to be particular about getting every cube the exact same shape. You're doing a nice job.
Oh, thank you. You can do it sort of one by one, or you can stack them. It's really up to you.
And then this piece is actually much easier. I got the easy job. I like to just stand it on its end, and because then it's nice and stable, and then cut down planks essentially, and then you can just.
Merrill, that's beautiful.
Well, the easier piece to work with, for sure.
It's a work of art.
So once you have your cubes, you can use them in soup. You could just roast these. You could steam them, chuck them into a stew.
Totally.
Basically do anything you want with them.
Yeah.
And they're delicious.